Hello everyone, and welcome to our live webinar. And today we will speak about cash flow, property cash flow, and how you can utilize the Lendlord platform to better manage your cash flow of your portfolio. So all income and expenses. And the agenda for today is this. So I will start. I know I did it in the previous webinar, but I think it's worth doing it again, like 5 minutes overview about Lendlord and the platform. Then we'll start drill down. So we'll start with how you can set up a property and a tenancy details. Then after that, we will speak how you can define and then review the payment schedule from each tenant and tenancy. After that, we'll show how you can set up the history of your cash flow. So let's say that you want also to review, it can be up to 5 years history on your Lendlord account for each property. It's something that it's basically can be done, and I will show you how. Then I will show how you can link your bank accounts. We support unlimited bank accounts into one account. How you can link accounting software. Currently we support only Xero. After that, we will speak about transactions. There are several things that can help you define a better handling of your transactions. So you can split transactions, you can make overpayments in terms of rent. And so I will show how you can do that. We'll touch on automation of ongoing income and expenses, and expense and income categories, and then in the end, how you can review your P&L statement. In the end, we will have a session of question and answers, but feel free to use the chat to put your questions, and Nick, that is moderating this webinar, so he will let me know. So if it's relevant to the topic that I'm speaking about, he will let me know, and then I can answer. And if not, I can answer in the end or between topics. Okay, so are we ready to go, Nick? Okay, so let's start with a high-level overview about Lendlord. So Lendlord first and foremost is a platform for property investors, and we help the property investors to manage his property investments and to get access to finance. When we say manage the investments, it's throughout the entire life cycle of the property. So starting the pre-acquisition phase, you can source properties. Currently, it's mainly auction data, but soon it will be also other open market listings. So you can source properties, you can search by area or city or postcode. You can apply other filters. As part of the pre-acquisition phase, when you look into new property deals, you can use our deal analyzer. And by using our deal analyzer, you can analyze potential deals and get all the numbers that basically you need in order to make a better decision. You just need to put two data items, and then with our defaults, with the system defaults, you will see the long-term and the short-term metrics. You can get some information about the property, about the postcode, and then starting this point, you can just tweak the numbers, the data. You can add costs. You can play with the loans settings for this deal, the monthly operating costs, and the future assumptions. And based on that, you can see the return. You can save the deal, the prospect deal, and then after that, you can review it on My Portfolio. And you can also see what finance options you have to finance this deal. And it can be basically two things. One, a mortgage, or we also provide remortgages. And this is basically tailored based to the profile of the user. So based on the data that you put on My Portfolio of your properties and other data, you will see the results of which lenders are available for you and what is the best product. And the second thing, if you need bridge finance, you can use our digital lender to secure finance if it's an auction purchase, which of you are going to, if you need any refurbishment, we also finance refurbishments and development works. So everything is integrated into one account, so you can actually, when you analyze the deal, you can see what finance options. Then after the pre-acquisition phase, let's say that you acquire the property, then you can manage the property and the entire portfolio actually on Lendlord. And there you have the My Portfolio. This is the place to put all of your property details in one place, upload documents, manage different owners in one account, different ownerships, and more. And we had the previous webinar on mainly on data that you can store and manage on Lendlord. You can manage your tenants and tenancies. You can manage the transactions. That this is the main topic of this webinar, and your profit and loss for the entire portfolio of specific properties. And you can get reports, P&L, property breakdown report, expenses breakdown report, income breakdown, and tax report, all in one platform. So this was a high-level overview about the platform. And then now we will start the topics of this webinar. Okay, so let's start with how to set up property and tenancy details. So first I will go to My Portfolio. So if you already own a portfolio, you have some properties, you should set up them on the My Portfolio page. You can edit, you can use it, you can edit manually by using the add button, add property, and then on the right sidebar, you can start typing the details. There are no mandatory fields. You can put some basic data, click done, and then click edit and continue to edit and add more data as you go. Or you can upload the portfolio CSV, and this is something that we showed in the last webinar. And then you just need to map your fields on your spreadsheet to the platform fields, and all the data will be here in one click. Then after you add a property, the next step is to add a tenant. So let's take an example for this webinar will be this property. I just picked like a random address. It's a demo account. So this property was purchased in 2017. The rental monthly income is 500. And this is what I want to show now. So now I will go to My Tenants. So My Tenants is the place to store all the tenants and tenancies. You can click add tenant, or you can also upload CSV if you have a spreadsheet with all your tenants. So I click add tenant. You can put the name, let's say demo tenant, just for the example. You can, if you want to store some information, you can do it here. The email address is important because in case you have payments overdue, to be easier for you, like to send the reminder to the tenant based to this email. Then the tenancy details. So first you need to attach it to a property. If you have multi-units property, you can specify the name of the unit, so it will be easier for you to identify the unit on the main page. And the tenancy period, the start date and the ending date. If it's a rolling tenancy, you can keep the ending date empty. The rent payment, the payment frequency, is it weekly, monthly, quarterly, and the first payment date. Let's put it on the 1st of January. Then you can also put details about the security of this tenancy. But because we speak this webinar on cash flow, I will move forward. I click save. Then the platform will give me the payment schedule for this tenancy to review. So basically, the platform created the payment schedule for this tenant and tenancy. If I'm not happy with something, I can just edit each row. So let's say that I'm expecting this to be paid on the 5th. I can edit, or I can add payments as well. If I want, if there is like a missing payment that the platform didn't generate, so I can edit manually, or I can delete payments. And this can be configurable after that as well. So we define the property on my portfolio, then a tenant and a tenancy here. For this webinar, we'll use this tenant marks that is a tenancy of this property. So this was how you can define a property, tenant and tenancy. And the next step will be starting dealing with the cash flow of this property. So how you can set up a cash flow history. Nick, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt. If not, I will move forward. Okay, so let's now speak about the cash flow and the cash flow history. So the place to review the cash flow is the profit and loss page. So here you can see the income and expenses currently for the entire portfolio or properties in the account, but you can apply filters. So if I want to see just a specific property, I can just select the property. If I want to see several properties together, I can do it as well. If I want to see just the properties of a specific owner in the account or several owners together, I can also filter the data by that. And also if I want to see just the properties under private ownership or company ownership or a specific company. So you can use the filters. The boxes above the chart are basically for each metric. So this is the net cash flow. If I click on this, I will see the monthly income. If I click on this, I will see the monthly expenses. And here's some metrics about the actual yield. So this is the monthly figure of May. But if I go to April, we will see this will change. And below the chart, you can see the years. So I can go to 2020, I can see I had 3.2% yield. This was my cash flow, entire 2020 with the breakdown, and the entire expenses, net yield, and also cash on cash. The cash on cash is on your cash investment. So how you set up the cash investment. So when you put the details on my portfolio, you put only the purchase price, but you had more costs when you purchase the property. So the place to add those costs are on the profit and loss. I will select a specific property. And then at the top of the page, you can see the purchase costs, the original mortgage, and basically by that, the platform will define the cash investment. You can click edit, and then on the right side, you will see all the purchase costs associated with this property. But it can be also like capital cost, even if you paid something, I don't know, like refurbishment after 2 years, you can add it to this table, and then basically it will increase the cash investment and the purchase costs of this property. The purchase price will be taken from the My Portfolio. Stamp duty, it's calculated, but you can change it here if it's not the right number. And then you can put other costs, or you can add any cost that you basically had when you purchased the property. So this is like the way how you can set up the purchase costs. Now, let's say that you've added the property on My Portfolio, and there is no, like, you need now to set up historical cash flow. So there are like basically 3 ways to set up cash flow and also to track the cash flow from now onward. So I will select our property with no cash flow. So this property was purchased in 2020, and you see that the chart is empty. So there are several options. One, if I link my bank account, and I will touch how you do it in the next topic, then from the transactions page, you can retrieve all the historical transactions from the bank account, from many bank accounts, and then allocate them to the relevant properties. And then it's something that you need to invest 1-2 hours just doing it once, and then it's there. This is one way. The other way is to define, you click on, do it again, actions, setup history. I will select the property. Then the platform will take from my portfolio the details that I put. So if I go back to my portfolio and I will select this property, and I will hover over the property row, click edit. So you can see that this property was purchased in 2020. The rental income 650. There is a mortgage cost, monthly cost of 131.25. And on the landlord insurance section, there is a monthly premium of £12. And in the property details section, there is also, I also set up the agent fee. Now, something is very important to understand on how this system works. So on my portfolio, this is the current snapshot of your properties. So the platform will store every month the data that you have here, and this will be recorded to the history as well. And you can see the trends on your dashboard. You can see here the trends of the profit and loss, but also the trends of your the entire portfolio growth. And this is based on new properties that you add to the portfolio, or if you edit the property value, for instance, or the mortgage balance. So if I go, let me select again this property. So if I now edit the property value, let's say that now this property worth 80, then the snapshot of May 2022 will record value of 80. So you will see increase in the value. Let's see if I go to the property page, there is the chart of this property. So yeah, so you can see a rise between April to May. Okay, so this is like another way you can also track the historical growth of this property. And on the dashboard, you will see the aggregation of the entire portfolio, and this will take also into account if you sold the property or if you add more properties to the portfolio. So it's a nice way to track the growth of your property business and property portfolio. Let's go back to the example. So if I go to this property again, so I showed you that you have rental income, you have mortgage costs, landlord insurance, and managing agent fee that I already defined on my portfolio. But it's not in my cash flow yet. So I need to go to profit and loss. I click actions, setup history. I will select this property. Then you see that the platform already took the numbers that I put on my portfolio for this property and put it here. So here I can decide that I want to track this rental income starting June 2017 to May 2020. Actually, it should be January 2020. Or perhaps the rent was different in the first year, for instance. So I can add expense or income period. Let's just copy this. And then let's say that it was 550 income. And this was January 2020 to January 2021. And I will change this to January 2021 to May 2022. So basically then it will create this, you know what, just for the example, I will do it even before. let's say October, and I will change this to October as well. November 2020. Then also the expenses, I can say that the agent fee, let's say that was the same for this period, mortgage cost, monthly premium. And then if I click recurring, and actually it's not recommended, because then what will happen next month, the platform will carry those income and expenses to the next month automatically. The best practice is to track the transactions once you get them by linking your bank account or doing manually or upload files. But if you have fixed income and expenses, it's also something that you can do, and then it will track the income and expenses in the next upcoming months. So I click now proceed. I will select now the property. And you can see the history was created basically. And you can see the difference between October to November, because I took care of it when I arranged the history. And if you want to change, you can click on the monthly, on the income, click edit, and then you can change here as well. And if you want to take it backwards, you can use the copy income backwards and copy this income to other months. So it's also something that can help you set up history. So this was how you can set up history. Okay, let's continue to the next topic. Unless Nick, do you have questions?
Yeah, we've got a couple here, Aviram. Firstly, there's a couple of questions on security. So one of the questions was, how safe is storing the personal details of the tenants on Lendlord, particularly in relation to the ICO requirements?
Yeah.
And the second one is, and it kind of ties in because of the encryption, because obviously the other thing is, how is your data about the individual's properties used? Obviously, from our perspective, we can't see anything because obviously it's all encrypted. But yeah,
I will explain. So first, in terms of the security of the platform, so the platform is secure, the communication is encrypted. We also added like two-factor authentication. So if we recommend you have a pop-up when you log in to go to your settings page and activate the two-factor authentication. So no one from the Lendlord team can access your data, and we are not passing on any of your details to third parties. The only way it will be like if you have an issue, the team will ask a consent to review the account data and logs, and without written consent, they are not allowed to do it. So yeah, and of course everything is hosted by AWS on the security groups. In terms of the question about the ICO of tenants, so we allow you as a landlord to put information, but it's based on the rules that you are basically need to apply. So you need to check if you can save the name or a phone number or date of birth. If you have already, like it's in files, you can use it here. The platform is safe, so the data is secured. We allow you to add this data, but you need to decide if you want or not. So if you prefer not to put the personal information, so you don't just put, the address, the tenancy dates, the rental income, just to manage the cash flow of this tenant and manage the due dates. So yeah, so I hope it answered the questions.
The other question we've got here, just quickly one, this one's an easy one for you to do. I hope everyone's got that one with the security side of things. One of the things we are hot on is the security side of things. Like I said, everything is encrypted. We cannot see anything that you put onto your site, your pages. Can you upload receipts, Aviram?
Yes. So if I go back to the profit and loss, and I will click on the monthly expenses, click edit, Then, so I have this expense. Let's say that there is a receipt. I click edit, and then you have this link, upload receipt. And when you click on it, it will open your file system so you can upload the receipt from here. And if you use our mobile app, when you click on this link, it will open the camera so you can just picture the receipt and it will be uploaded to the platform. And if you don't use the app, you can just use the web browser from your mobile and log into your Lendlord account and do it from there as well. But the place that I found the best way to upload receipts is from the report. So if you go to the expenses breakdown report, then first you can see the breakdown of your expenses per category. You can also based on the periods, and then you have the table of all the expenses. And here you have in this column the receipt, so you can click upload the receipt and store it on your Lendlord account. And again, this is also available from your mobile app. So once you click upload, it will open the camera, so you can just picture the receipt and upload it in very easily. Okay. So
thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Let's continue. So the next topic, how to link your bank accounts. So before I showed you how you can set up the history, the cash flow history, the best practice is to do it with linking bank account. I need to say that this is part of our premium plan. So if you want to link your bank account or link accounting software or do other things more like unlimited postcode searches, 5 tenant referencing for free, there's some set of features under the premium plan. Then you need to upgrade to the premium plan. The cost is 15 pounds per month on the monthly plan. And if you pay in advance for the entire year, is 20% discount, and you will pay 12 pounds per month. So one payment of 144. So how you link your bank account. So I will go to the transactions page. So this is the best page to manage transactions. Income and expenses, you can either import them from a file, add transaction manually, or link bank account. And then once you link the bank account, the platform will retrieve the new transactions every 24 hours. So you just need to allocate them or define rules so they will be allocated automatically and then be stored on your profit and loss statement on Lendlord. So then you can see it for each property, the exact performance, and also after that manage the cash flow. You can also in terms of filing your tax return. So how you link your bank account? Go to transactions, click on link bank account. And then you need to decide if you want to link the bank account or you link Xero. I'll click link bank account. Then you will be redirected to Plaid. Plaid is our provider, is an FCA regulated with the permission to implement the open banking. And the Lendlord has approval from the FCA to act as the agent of Plaid. Click continue. Then most of the UK banks will be here. You just need to search for your bank and then continue. Take you directly to your, it's like you log in to your bank account from the browser. You will need to put your credentials, and this stage, Lendlord has no connection. So basically now, like being redirected, we don't store any of your credentials for your bank account. Open banking, what happens is basically that there is a feed, a read access feed through Plaid to our to API of them to Lendlord, and this is the way we can retrieve the transactions. I will not complete the authentication process right now, but after you do that, you will receive a window that will ask you how much history you want to retrieve your own bank account. And if you want to take care of the history by transactions, you can just, I think that it allows up to 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2 years, so you can do it. And then you will have all the transactions in the transactions page. You can allocate them from here. or you can just keep the history empty or set it up as I showed before and start receiving from now on all the transactions. So let's say I did it, and I will show you an example. So after you link your bank account, every day when you log into the platform, you receive this message. So I have like 5 new transactions. I will click continue. I will receive this wizard. This wizard will help me to allocate the new transactions that arrive to my account. But don't worry, if you don't use this wizard, you can handle it after that from the transactions page. So it will be there, don't worry. Okay, so I see that I received 500 pounds. It's marked rent. Let's say that it's a recurring transaction. So I'm expecting to get this rent every month. So next time it will appear to my account, it will be allocated automatically. The property is 14. The category, I will put it as rent. And now I need to choose payment. So if you recall on my tenants, we defined the tenant and tenancy in the payment schedule. So now I need to allocate this transaction to a tenant. So I will allocate it to Marks on May 1st. Okay. So next month, automatically the platform will recognize similarity algorithm based on description and the amount to this property and this tenant. Don't worry, if there are mistakes, you can tweak it and revert and just allocate it again. I will click allocate. Next transaction, landlord insurance. Let's say it's also a recurring transaction. I will select the property. The category is selected automatically insurance, and I click allocate. My mortgage payment, again, let's say it's recurring transaction. Allocate. Now I have roof repair. This is a one-time payment. I will select the property, the category. Now look, I don't have to use this wizard, so I want to keep this not allocated yet. I will click handle it later from the transactions page, and I receive accountant fee, another expense. This is one time, and here it's basically, it's not related to a specific property. For me, it's for the entire portfolio. So I can allocate this transaction to the entire portfolio because the accountant basically helped me managing the entire portfolio, like the accounts of the entire portfolio. If I have different companies managed on Lendlord account, so you can allocate the expense to a specific company. Okay. And I will choose the category, let's say accounting fees, and click allocate. Okay, well done. Let's go back to the transactions page. And now in the transactions page, you will see in green all the transactions that were allocated and how they were allocated and when they were allocated. So you can see the accountant fees was manually allocated on May 12th. The mortgage pay and land insurance rent was automatically allocated. So it was not automatically, but this is the first time that we decided that those transactions will be automatically next time. So just to keep track, we already define it as automatic transaction. Okay, so now if I go to the profit and loss, and I will select the property. So let's take a look on May. I now have income and expenses here. Click edit. I will see the rent from Mark allocated and stored on my profit and loss. Another place I will see it if I go to my tenants and I will select payment schedule. Let's select the property. So you can see that it tracked that Mark paid his rent and it paid it in the, May 3rd. So basically 2 days overdue. So it's also something that you can track over the months and when you review this tenancy. By the way, if it was not paid on time, on the alerts, you will receive this rent payment overdue notification. It will be also being sent to your email, and you can click send reminder. And if you store the email of the tenant, you can send him a message to pay the rent. Okay, I will go back to the profit and loss. We select the property. And in the expenses side, I see the land insurance, the mortgage payment that I allocated, but I had one more transaction that I still need to allocate. So I will go back to the transactions. So you can see that there is the roof repair that we haven't allocated using the wizard. So I can do it from here. It's not a problem. I just need to click edit, choose the property, the category, and I click save. Save it will not allocate, just be stored here. But I can click save and allocate, and then it will ask me, is it a one-time transaction, one payment transaction, one time, sorry, or recurring? And this is a roof repair. It was one-time expense. I will click one time. And then if I go to the profit and loss, select 14, you see that the expenses went up, and I will see the roof repair here. So this was the way. So basically, when you link the bank account, every month, every day, sorry, every 24 hours, the platform will retrieve the new transactions. You will see here when was the last date that the platform retrieved the transaction and how many transactions were retrieved, and you will see everything here. So you can go also back and see all the historical transactions. This account, I don't have historical transactions. So this is the way to link bank account.
We have a couple of questions here, if I can, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's have a look now. Jenny has asked, can you upload different bank accounts for individual properties? So rather than having one bank account for all your money, but have one bank for one property and all expenses in connection therein.
Yes, absolutely. So you can link as many bank accounts as you want. It's unlimited right now, and I don't see a reason why it will not remain like this. So you just need to click on link bank account, click continue, and then add another account. You will see all the accounts here. So basically here on the settings, we see integrations. So you can see the banks that are now connected, integrated to your Lendlord account. The status will be, so it's valid if everything is okay, but if it's, there is like let's say that the password is changed, so you will see it here, and then it will ask you to reconnect the credentials. So you can, like the answer is yes, you can link more than one bank account. It's unlimited.
Okay, lovely. And the other question was notifications about an overdue rent or something like that. So you've linked your bank account, you've checked your bank, you've done some, you've looked into it. If the system recognizes that there's an overdue, let's say a certificate or a rent payment, how does the system alert you?
So yeah, I just showed it. So basically, if you have payments overdue, let's say, let's select all properties. You will see them in the alerts, and you will also receive email with a notification that there is overdue payment for this property from this tenant. And when you receive it, you can click send a reminder, and by that you can send an email to your tenant to pay the rent. You can control the notifications from the settings page, and then you can see, okay, when you want to receive due date notifications, and when you want to receive, if you want to receive rent payment reminders. Okay.
Yeah, there is one more. Do you want to do one now? Another one
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There is a Thabo asks, and forgive me if I got pronounced that name wrong. Forgive me, please. Can you split expenses across multiple properties?
Yeah. So this is yeah. Yeah, I understand. This is exactly the next topic. I know that Jeffrey, so it's very easy to show you how you can link Xero. It's the same like bank account. How to link your accounting software. Click link bank account, continue, and then you can link to Xero, and then it will take you to the login page of Xero. You need to put your credentials, click login, and then the connection will be created. And then Lendlord will retrieve the reconciled transactions from Xero, and you will see them here on the transactions page. Now, for the question, so how to manage transactions, split overpayments. So yes, you can split any transaction. The common use case is to, let's say that I received net rent for my agent. Okay, so let's say that the rent net was 600. Let's use the same property that we use, but for like, let's say it was for April. I think that I haven't allocated April yet. Okay, so I received, let's say I received 400 just for the, or 450. Okay, so let's click save now. Okay, so I have net rent unallocated for this property, 450. So basically, this is two transactions because it's a net rent. I can click now split transaction, and I can split this to income and expense. So basically, I was going to rent of 500, and I will allocate it to the payment of April. And expense, this is the management fee of 50. Together, it's 450, one income, one expense. I click split, then I have two different transactions, and I click allocate, and it will be tracked two transactions on my profit and loss, not one. The other scenario is that I received one expense that I want to split over more than one property. So I will use the same. I will click the split transaction button. I will just change this also to expense. Let's say this is for property 1. This is for property 2. I will select a different property here. Let's ignore the categories for now. And then let's say it was 2000 here, 2000 here, and I can add another one, property 3. And this was 700. Okay, so I can split one transaction into many transactions, and it can be also to allocate it to different properties. I click split, then I receive 3 of them on the transactions page, and then I click just allocate, and they will be on my profit and loss now. So this was like how to split transactions. Another thing I can do is to manage overpayments, or if let's say that I received, you know what, let's do the example on the tenant that we already showed. So if I go back to my tenants, I will select the example property 14. So I will go now to the payment schedule of this tenant. So you see that he already paid the rent for May. Let's say that now he paid like another 200. So I will change just for the example, the expected basically was 700. And he paid only 500, okay, on May 5th. So now in the transactions, I link my bank account and I see that he paid the other 200 on May 10th. Let's say it's income. And I see rent commission was 200. You just save for now. Okay, so I received this transaction. I need to allocate it. So I will select the property. And then I don't have the payment of May. So what I do, I can click add to paid payment. And when I click add to pay payment, I will choose the payment that I already tracked of May 1st. And I can decide if I want to just complete the payment or create another row. Let's create another row. I click allocate. Then on my tenants, I will see now another payment row that was created for this tenant. One second. Yeah. So you see that all in all, he paid what he needed to pay. So expected 700, paid 700. Still, the overdue was 200 because he didn't pay on time. But the accumulated debt of this tenant is 0. The accumulated debt is important because then you can take the dates backwards to the start of the tenancy and you can see if there are some debts from this tenant or tenancy or not. Okay, so so this is like the way you can manage more than one payment for a specific, more than one transaction for a specific payment. Okay, I think that we're running out of time. So let's see how to automate my ongoing income and expenses. So this is something that I showed when you use the automations of when you define it's a recurring expense, income or expense, then the platform will remember it next time. The way you can manage the rules are on the transaction rules page. So here on the left side is the transaction details. On the right side is the allocation details. So when the platform will see transactions with this description, this amount, it will be allocated to this property and this tenant. And you can change the rule by click edit, or you can delete this rule. So this automation will be removed, and next month you will need to allocate it manually. So this is the way to manage automations. Categories, how you can set up income and expense categories. So for that, I will go to the reports page, although it's also available for profit and loss. I will go to the expenses breakdown. So here you can see all the categories breakdown actually. And when you use this drop down of the category, you can change the allocation of a category to a specific transaction. But you can also tweak the list of categories. So you can click edit on each category. You can change the name of the category or the color, or you can delete the category. You can scroll down and you can add new categories. So basically, this list is very flexible. So you can use our predefined categories, but if you're not happy with them, you can change and put your own. By that, you can use your classification. And then I can now select my own category. I will need to check it here. Okay. Okay, so this is how you can set up and tweak the category list. And the last topic, how to review my profit and loss statement. So the place to do it is on the profit and loss page, of course. And here you can see year by year. And of course, you can filter the data for a specific property or for a specific owner. But if you want to do it like for tax reasons, I would go to the reports page. And here you have different reports. The P&L report, you will see the breakdown of the income to categories, rent, fee, other, and the breakdown of expenses to categories. And as I explained, you can change the categories to your own. The total expenses, what is the operating profit, and then estimated profit after tax. You can also take it to different periods. So you can see this month, this quarter, last financial year, for instance. And again, here you can see, okay, I want to see just the private properties, private ownership. Then we also have a link to Untied. So you can file your tax returns to HMRC online from Lendlord. You need to verify that you review the income and expenses of the period. And then if you click proceed, it will take you, like you will remain in Lendlord, but it will be a different system just to file the tax return to HMRC. And this is important because this is the first phase of making tax digital. So if you manage your properties and cash flow on Lendlord, when making tax digital will be live, you will be able to report and file your tax return every quarter using Lendlord. And this will be, I think it starts in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, it was delayed. But if you want to start file your tax return automatically, you can already start doing it, and also be ready for making tax digital when it happens. The other reports are the property expenses breakdown. You can see the breakdown of each property per categories, income and expense. The expenses breakdown is a great way to see on what category, like on what basically you spend the cash of the entire portfolio, or again, for a specific property. And let's say that I want now to see just how much I spend on mortgage costs. I can just select this, and then I can see all the transactions that associated with mortgage interest. I can upload the receipts from here, etc. The income breakdown is the same, just for the income. And the tax report is basically will give you estimation on your profit after tax, and it's based on some assumptions, so it's not 100% accurate. So you need to use accountant or to file tax return to understand the real number, but it's definitely can give you indication based for like here based on the tax band. And you can see also the breakdown of if you have properties under company ownership, it's a different calculation, so you will see it here as well. So this is the best way to review your profit and loss statement. Okay, so Nick, now I think we're over time, but definitely it's not a problem to answer some questions if we have.
Yeah, there's a couple come in. To everyone, to let you know, the recording will be, someone's asked about, is this webinar being recorded? Yes, it is. And it will be on Lendlord's YouTube channel tomorrow, I think. Is that right, Avram? Tomorrow?
Yeah. So
okay.
The recording will be available on our YouTube channel, and we also send an email.
Send an email out, yeah. Paul asks, for mortgage lender options, how many mortgage providers offers are available within Lendlord, and why should he use this rather than a normal broker?
Okay, so first, it's something that is tailored based on your data. So if you put the entire portfolio on your Lendlord account, 1 second, please. So if you put your, sorry for that, give me 10 seconds. Okay, so then in one click, if you click on available lenders, you will see the stress test of your portfolio and the aggregation per lender, and which lenders are available for you for a new mortgage or remortgage, and which lenders are not, and what is the reason. Okay, so, and then it's also, you can say, okay, so if I apply together with James, together we have different properties, or if I apply by myself, what is the situation? So it's basically analyze your situation based on the data that you put on my portfolio. In terms of coverage, we I think almost all of market. Perhaps there are a few lenders that are not on our panel. In terms of a mortgage search, so if you now want to get a mortgage for a specific property, for example, for a purchase or for a remortgage. So if a remortgage, you can just select remortgage and then select the property, and then the platform will take the data of this property to the filters. Then you can click search and you can see the results. We'll not click search because it takes a few seconds just to show you. These are the results for the purchase deal. And I can see not just the rate, but also the fees. And the benefits are basically you can apply online. So the entire process, you can see all the options. If you click proceed, you can start filling the data that is relevant to submit your application online. And then you will receive online application of your mortgage. So you are on top of the application. You will be notified on any step of your mortgage application. You will be able to review the mortgage illustration from a Lendlord account. Usually it takes us, can be even 1 hour to review a mortgage illustration after you submit application, but let's say up to 24 hours. Then if you want to proceed, our team members, like one of the team members will speak with you, and then you can upload documents. You can decide to submit the application online, see the terms of the service, and then the processing will let you know. It's not this demo, so I don't have ready like application, but the processing is nice because then you can see each step of the lender, what is the status directly from your Lendlord account. So basically you can track online the mortgage application. So this is one benefit. And we also, some of the deals we compensate with cashback from Lendlord and 6 months free of the premium plan if you apply with us. But I think that, you know, we are going more and more digital, and I think it's a great way to understand your options. So as I explained in the beginning, if you source properties in auctions, soon we'll have like other type of channels, then immediately you can analyze the deal, receive some market data, and understand which finance options, okay, in this case, are available for you, and then you can apply online basically. So the entire process is in one place, and then you can also keep the rate. Another thing that we have is if you go to the increase profit tab on the insights page, you will see remortgage opportunities. So the engine here basically search the market and also understand the criteria based on the data that you put on my portfolio, and it will notify if there is an opportunity to remortgage. Opportunity can be if the market has changed, there are better rates rather than what like relate to what you have on a portfolio. Or let's say that you had 10 properties with mortgages and then you sold, I don't know, 2 or 3, then other lenders now available for you. So perhaps, and perhaps mainstream lenders, so perhaps there are other rates that available now. So the platform basically is doing it for you, and you can see also in the dashboard. And it also takes into account the early redemption fees. So if it's not worth to remortgage now, you will not see the recommendation. But let's say that even if you pay the penalties, it's still worth to remortgage, you will see it here. So this was like a brief overview of our mortgage services. And this is the way we monetize the platform. The platform, almost all the entire functionality is free to use. We encourage our users to work with our services, but of course you can use the platform in any way. Anyway, do we have any other question, Nick?
Well, there is actually 2 more questions. We can't, I think we'll have to leave it there really. There's lots of questions coming in, but we're desperately running out of time now. So forgive us if we don't get a chance to ask all your questions in the first instance. Can we change tax regimes for different countries, or it's set for UK only? And will the next update have more currencies?
Okay, so currently, like, we have versions for other territories, but the count is based on territory. So this account is a UK account. If you want to manage a Canadian portfolio or German portfolio, then you need to create a different account with country Germany or country Canada, because they are different. So the deal analyzer will be different. For instance, we'll take, you know, the tax rules will be different. So you need a different account. You can, if let's say that you are a UK landlord and you have few properties abroad, you can add those properties to the portfolio, but you need, it's one currency. So you need to translate the, for instance, the value, the rental in the other currency, let's say euros to pounds, and keep them in pounds on your portfolio. So it's definitely feasible that way, but we don't manage different currencies for different properties. And if you want to see the entire account in a different currency, you can go to the settings and select dollars. And then you can see that then all numbers will be with dollars, but it's only one currency per account. Yeah, Nick.
Okay, thank you, Avram. Okay, last question now. So again, forgive us if we can't get to any more questions. Last question. Lucy's asked a good question here. What do you do with the expense for a property that is not completed yet? How would that go via the untied connection?
I would put, okay, so if you want to file your tax returns and this expense that you haven't purchased the property yet, I would use the, if it's owned by a company, if you're going to purchase by a company, I will allocate the expense to a company, and if not, to the entity that we call entire portfolio. So let's say that you paid legal fees to a property, but it's not owned by you yet, or inspection fee. That's evaluation fee. Okay, so we just then there is no property because it's not it's not, you don't own it yet. So use the entire portfolio, and then basically you will have this expense. And then what I will do after that, so let's do it. Okay, so I will do valuation fee here. I'll click save and allocate. Then I will go to the profit and loss. I will select entire portfolio. Click edit. So you see valuation fee here. So let's say that now I acquired the property. So I own now the property. What I need to do is to go to the profit and loss, click on the valuation fee, move. Okay. And I can move it to the property afterwards. Okay. So you can store it on an entire portfolio. And then after you purchase the property, you can move the expense to this specific property. Okay.
Okay. All right. Hope that's answered the questions there. Okay. Okay. Well, look, I'm gonna have to bring this to a close now. We're just running out of time. But thank you, everyone, and thank you for your questions. There are one or two other questions which we can answer directly if you put them to us. But obviously there will be more webinars coming up as well.
Yeah. And if you can put the links in the chat, so you can schedule calls with our team or apply for bridging finance, and of course, think to create your bank account if you haven't yet.
All right.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Feel free to ask questions using the chat on the platform, or schedule a call with the Calendly link that Nick just put in the chat. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, and have a great evening.